Hello everyone. I have come back today with a new topic on how to utilize group by for the better aggregation using in data frame. This is an extension video, and today I'll be more specifically explaining to you what is group by transformation, how to utilize it, how it is useful, in a sense how it makes things easy, how powerful it is, and as a data scientist or as a data analyst, how it can be much more effective in your coding style. Without worry about the logic, you can focus on the analysis. All right, so this I'm going to show, but if you want to understand how the aggregation can be performed using group by method on data frame object, then please see my previous video for that. Alright, and if you still want the more concepts in detail, then I have a video on that too. Alright, so let's start with how the transformation can be performed and what else can be done. Alright, so for that to illustrate that, I have taken a very small data set which you can see on my screen, right? So I have a data set where basically I have 4 columns and altogether there are 12 rows. Okay, this data set, what you could see here, right, I have highlighted here, it has basically it replicates or it gives you an sample data set on any sports activities you can relate with, where we have team information, right, we have the particular year in which the team had played and the total points or scores the team has maybe scored in that particular year in the given match, and based on that we have also done assigning of the ranking based on the score. That's the small brief history about your data set. Do not worry if you don't see it in detail, because not knowing or not seeing the data in detail will not affect your learning in understanding the concept of transformation. Alright, so quickly, one important thing what you should know is this part. How many distinct team information is there in our column team? Well, there are 4 distinct values: riders, devils, kings and royals. Alright, so you can see that. Alright, let's go on. Right, so if you are a beginner and if you don't know how a group by method works, then in that case you can refer this. In short, a group by operation involves 3 steps. Okay, as you could see here. Right, first is splitting the data by group, each group. Alright, and in our examples also we are going to consider one column as a group information on which you actually split the data, that will be team. Alright, and second, performing the operation or applying a function by group, and finally we have to combine the results of all the groups. Okay, alright, and if you go further, now let's see how transformation is achieved, and if you want more in details about what is a transformation and what kind of technical information, not the application point of view, for that you can always ping me and I'll suggest you some more material. But for the time being, what is important to understand is the transformation returns a series object having same length as that of the original data frame. This is very important point, and this is how the application with transformation becomes very easy. Okay, let's take the next point. So see, before I go, let me tell you, let's understand, okay, the scenario where transformation plays important role and we can utilize it. Okay, and then maybe I'll take with a practical examination example of that, and you'll be able to see. So let's consider a case. You saw the data frame we have there. Now we have some case like this. What we want to do, calculate the difference between points. This refers to the value in column points and the average of the points of all the records belonging to this team. Okay, belonging to the team, so column team. So for example, if you see the record or row 0, okay, if we come here in row 0, what is our points value? 876. Which team it belongs to? Riders, right? So now if you come to row 0, the record belongs to team riders, therefore the value in first row or at the 0 index should be 876 minus average of the points belongs to riders. Alright, row 3, the record belongs to the team Devils, therefore the actual value what we are looking, okay, in this case that should be value in row 3, or what value we are looking for, points value, okay, which is 863 minus average of the points belongs to team Devils. What is important point to understand here is that as the row index is changing, the row index can belong to any team, right? The team information may also change, and as the team information is changing, my second parameter or second operand in the subtraction operation, you can see that will be changing, okay, that has to change dynamically considering which team the original value belongs to. I hope you are clear with the case or the scenario in which we are looking to utilize transformation, group by transformation. Alright, now technically if I have to implement, let's say for this 2 index, here it is, okay. So if you see for the 0th index, what my value should be exactly, it should be 113.75. How we have got? So what we are doing, we are just selecting the points at 0th index, okay, this one is that will give you, and then we are first then going and filtering out all the records that belongs to team riders, because our first row belongs to team riders, right, which I have already highlighted here. You can see the data also. I'll provide the data in the link, and you can go through the data. You can utilize the data to practice these questions if you want. And then I have taken the average of that by calling np.mean. Mean is a function that is available in NumPy package. It is already imported in the very first starting of the script. And then we have this particular operation returns me 175. And similar way for the second case, if you see, it's df points 2, then average of all the points belonging to team Devils, and that gives me a value of 95, right? Well, so if you are thinking like what is wrong in implementing this approach, I can go by this approach. No? Every time go ahead and keep on manually selecting the values and then taking the difference. Well, I think you can see the big pain here is that if there are 100 of records, you have to write 100 line of codes. I'm sure that is not the smart coding, right? So how can be done? Well, this can be done very easily with transformation, which I'm saying. But first let me tell you, if you don't know transformation and if you try to do or achieve it with a basic data structure that you know in Python, how much painful it can be. Okay, let's have some illustration of that. So if you see, I'm trying to achieve it first with a loop implementation. Okay, so if you go by loop implementation, the logic will be select the row, fetch points and team information, compute average of points for the given team, alright, compute the average, and then compute difference between points and value obtained in line number 3, this one we are talking about, and then repeat from 1 to 4 for every rows that you get. Okay, so for example, here it comes. A code wise implementation, if you ask me, here it goes, right? So if you see how many lines of code we are writing to achieve it, some around 6 lines of code are there to achieve the task. Okay, so what we are doing, we are iterating through each of the row, right? And then I'm fetching the points at the given row and then average of the points in the given row, right, if you see, right, and then what I'm doing, I'm storing my result as a list object for time being. Once I'll complete the loop, once the loop ends, the cursor will come at line number 7. What I'm doing, I'm attaching that information to my original data frame just to store in the same object. I mean, it's not mandatory that you should attach. However, I'm doing this just for the comparison sake. Alright, we'll see the result, how the result of my list looks like, we'll see that. But let's try to implement the similar thing. What you see here is achieved with the 5 steps of code with group by and transformation. You can achieve it in just one line of code. Can you imagine that? Let's have a look. Alright, so here is the implementation using group by and dot transform method. So what we are doing here, you have to first split your data by the group you want to split on. So I want to split my data by team, so I am doing df.group by team. Okay, and then I am selecting the column on which I want to do the this kind of manipulation, so that is my points column, and then I am calling dot transform, and if you go to the documentation of dot transform, it takes a function object. Okay, now the function object can be written in any way, named function also it can be, or lambda functions also. So all the Python supported function types can be passed inside dot transform, but your operation should be as a function object. Okay, so that I am implementing here with the lambda expressions. What I am saying, lambda x colon x minus mean of x. So what I am saying, take x and return me difference of x minus mean of x. Well, what is my x here? So x will be one row at a time. Okay, it will be one row at a time, like how you have one row fetching here, that's how it will be one row at a time. And that's all, that much is the code to achieve the same result as what we got here by 4 or 6 lines of code. All right, that's all. Let's see the results. Keep in mind, we are storing here by points variance ft and here by points variance gt, and let's see the results. Okay, so there is a result. Okay, so if you see the fifth column, that is achieved by for loop, and the points last column is achieved by a group by transformation method, and the values are same, there is no difference. Alright, and if you go back again, as I said, this value 1137 is computed how? This is 876 minus average of the points belonging to team riders. Alright, so this is the how we can utilize and make a bigger logic in one liner we can achieve with the help of group by transformation. Well, the one which I am showing you might be very simple to you. However, you can think of the applications where things will go very easy. For example, let's say I bring a little correction here. Okay, I want to now split my data by 2 columns and then do this computation. All right, so what will modification you will have to do here and here. So here you have to add one more loop. All right, you have to write 2 for loops, and your inner logic, this code will also change accordingly. Okay, maybe you need one more list object to store that. I'm talking from implementation point of view, how much changes you will get in each of the approach. Alright, so lot of changes will come here, but that is very simple in this scenario. All you have to do is change here, add one more column here, rest all of the logic will remain same. Okay, no change. Again, let's say another case where you want to change your computation itself. Okay, you don't want to basically take the difference, but rather you want to normalize the data, some bigger formula you want to bring in. In that case, you have to bring the change here, okay, inside the for loop. I mean, I am not sure how many lines of code that will go. It depends what logic you try to implement. Whereas here in this way, you'll have to just change your this part, and that should be just 2 to 3 words of change. That much I can assure you. So if you understand and if you know how to utilize group by and transform, your life will be very easy, logic free. Actually, you don't have to worry about the logic, and you will be more focusing on the data analysis part. So may not be for everybody, but certainly for data analyst and data scientist, understanding and knowing how to utilize group by along with transform will be very efficient and less time consuming. So happy learning. Keep learn this. If you have any question, do you want me to add more examples to it, then please do let me know by commenting. I will surely add all the modifications on all the other test cases as you want. Till then, thank you and happy learning.